start by saying being vetted and safeguard trained doesn't equal being safe to work with children. We need to know who's working with our young people. The safer and the stronger your recruitment process is, the better the people that you employ or you get to volunteer in your sport, the safer they will be with young people. It doesn't remove all other risks, but it really is a very good, strong starting point. Wherever you have groups of young people, you need to ensure that they have an advocate for them. Now, we would have working in our clubs, a volunteer called a club children's officer. They are the advocate for young people in our clubs. And at regional level, we would have a regional children's officer. And at national level, that job falls to me as the national children's officer. And their role is to ensure that there are good safeguarding practices at any level. Very much an advisory role across the board for everybody working in that sport. Expectations. I know it's not a policy, but you need to think about expectations, because you could put it in various different sort of coaching criteria policies, teaching criteria policies. If you look at clubs, most clubs have constitutions which set out the expectations for the club. So I'm going to deal with this. I know it's not a policy as itself, but it can be so important to understand what those expectations are and to have some way of communicating them. You can alleviate so many difficulties in clubs just by being clear on expectations for young people. So the young person is really clear about what the club is going to provide for them. The parent is really clear about what the club is going to provide for them. And the people working in the club are really clear about what their purpose is. You have policies to deal with all of this. But when things go wrong, you also need to know how to deal with it. There is a really important point here that if things have gone seriously wrong, people have a tendency to, I suppose, not really know how to deal with it. If you have talked about it and you have given your young people's advocates, your volunteers, the guidance, where to go, how to deal with it, who to ring, who to talk to, it won't seem quite so frightening. So, and here I'm talking about reporting abuses, but there are some lower level concerns that also it is really important that we know how to deal with. So you should have an anti-bullying process in place, and everybody in your club should be aware of that. You should have how to deal with poor practices and an understanding of what a poor practice is. And then you should have a complaints and disciplinary process. So if things do go wrong at a level where it's not reported to statutory authorities, you have a mechanism in your club as to how to deal with it.